Have you ever felt like you're not quite fitting in spiritually, that you feel like you're on this path alone? Well, it's not that you're lost. It's just that you're being called to remember who you are. My name is Peter Abundant, aka Dr. Abundant, PhD and ordained minister of metaphysical science, which is the study of spirituality. I am also the author of The Enlightened Shadow and Spiritual, Not Religious, available on Amazon and Audible. As we go on this journey of spirituality, and we experience many different things along the journey, right? But one of the big things is a sense of belonging, not feeling like you belong because you are identifying with this unique, this individualized path, this individualized journey that you are on. And even though we connect with everybody, we connect with everything on a deeper spiritual level, there is still an understanding that everybody else is also on their own journey. And that is the thing we actually share with one another, is that we are taking this journey together, but also separate. And so the separation of really understanding your own unique journey is one that tends to leave you feeling like you don't belong. It tends to leave you feeling like you are alone on this spiritual journey, right? So why do you feel that way? Why do you feel like you're alone? You may feel a sense of disconnection because you are maybe comparing yourself to other people's journey, right? You may look at somebody else's journey the best way you can, right? Whatever it is that they're sharing and exposing. And you may come to an understanding or a conclusion as to what their journey is like based on maybe things that they share, stories that they tell, videos or pictures on their social media. Maybe they even wrote a book. Okay. Maybe they have a blog, a vlog. And so you tend to want to fit yourself into their story as if their story is for you, as if their journey is for you. Now, it is for you in ways of being inspired, right? Being motivated. But a lot of times we often blur the line between inspiration, motivation, to a state of thinking that their path is the way it's supposed to be for you. We forget the nuances. We forget the details. We forget the experiences in between the lines of reading their blog or their book, the exchanges and the interactions and the things that's happening in between the edits of the video. Okay. And so you have to recognize that your experience is not something that you experience like a vlog, like a video, where there are cuts in and out. You have to go through your journey moment to moment, throughout every detail, every nuance, every single experience. And so even in that, you recognize, wait a minute, my journey is different. Your journey is different. Your journey is special. And so many times you are comparing yourself to somebody else's journey, thinking that their journey maybe is better than yours, but it isn't. It really is only the highlights of their journey when you experience it from their point of view. But your journey has a whole lot more going on to it because you are experiencing every single nugget and detail of it. And so that often makes you feel alone when you are thinking that your experience is supposed to be expressed just like this collection of highlights in this video or in this book, right? But it's not like that. So I want you to identify and understand that you're coming from your own perspective, your own consciousness. This is your journey, your detailed journey of experiencing, of self-realization, of remembrance of who you are. Okay. True belonging doesn't happen and is not found in copying, in mimicry. Now, you can start the journey that way, but that's not exactly how you're going to find your fulfillment, your joy, your happiness. Okay. Your journey, your sense of belonging happens from a state of remembering who you are, remembering the core of who you are, which is consciousness. Okay. So, in order for you to start belonging, you must first belong within. You must experience that belonging within you. It starts within. You see, now we often in the spiritual journey start to understand that the outside world as we know it isn't something that is separate from us. But in the beginning, you really find that because your consciousness and your ego are at odds at one another, because consciousness is recognized in oneness, ego only sees separation. So as you are going on this journey, you are looking at the outside world, the separation of things, because you're usually, you've been led by the ego. Spirituality is recognizing the ego is not serving you to be led simply by the ego. And now we need to go into being led by consciousness. And so as you get into this understanding and you start looking at the outside world differently, you recognize that it's no longer about seeing the outside world and then having that dictate or impact your internal reality. So you recognize that it's the other way around. It is what you are experiencing on the inside that determines the experience on the outside. Whereas most people function from being or having an experience on the outside and then letting that dictate how they feel internally. In other words, you are letting outside influences dictate and create your reality for you, meaning you are letting other people create your reality for you. But on the spiritual journey, you recognize that it starts within first. So you start to recognize that, wait a minute, consciousness is the divine expression of God within me. So therefore, I create my reality. When you understand that and you start to take the journey of practicing and the true realization of it, then you recognize that everything starts within. So your reality is a projection of your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions. Okay. The I am, activating that I am and stating I am this, I am that. That is the power that then recognizes that you create the experiences. It's not the other way around. So you belong the moment you accept your divine connection and the order by which that divine connection expresses itself. It doesn't express itself outward in toward you. It expresses itself from within outward. Okay. You don't have to earn it. It is already who you are. So I want you to recognize that belonging truly, truly starts within. So another sense of feeling like you don't belong is this idea of community, finding your tribe. I myself experience that often, where I'm looking to connect with like-minded people, with people whom I can have this dialogue with on an ongoing basis. Okay. And many times when you're on the spiritual journey, you're not going to have access to those kind of people because now you are ascending, you are unfolding your consciousness. And so you have to recognize that everybody's not on the same journey, that most people aren't waking up, to their spiritual enlightenment and consciousness. And that is okay. So you must practice compassion and empathy with that and grace within yourself, but also understanding because, like I said before, everything starts within. The ability to create a community starts within as well. And the more you are in tune with self, the more you are likely and going to actually bring connections, bring individuals, attract people, communities into your life, even change the perspective of the current relationships and the community that you have. In other words, you're seeing that there is a very superficial level of that community that we often just simply identify with. But then there is a ability for you to go deeper, essentially having the same community, but recognizing the depth of what it is that they're experiencing, going through, talking about the activities that they're doing from your conscious, state of awakening. Okay. That gets a little bit complicated and, not really complicated, but it really takes you understanding that everybody is on the spiritual journey. And so you can identify when somebody is processing things in a way that allows you to see what their spiritual journey is. With that, you can take perspective from it. You can gain wisdom from it, from watching them and seeing how their approach, their mindset, their emotions are maybe helping them, or it is a disservice to them and it is really preventing them from seeing their own light or having and creating the results that they really want. So what that does for you is that you learn then from watching them. It gives you perspective and seeing, okay, I see exactly what they're doing, and they are actually a reflection. They are actually a teacher. In many ways, they are an unconscious mentor for you. So then you can actually look at them and see, okay, I know this is not a good idea what they're doing, but you're not there to tell them what to do, right? You're not there to judge them. You're just simply going to be there to observe and witness. And whatever outcomes they create for themselves, that gives you a opportunity to learn, and it cultivates your stance and really solidifies your understanding. It really compromises your understanding of like, okay, yes, that's exactly what I thought would happen. Not from a place of like, oh, I'm right, and they're wrong, but from a place of really letting you see how alignment works. And you confirm it, even though you're in a place of knowing it, by seeing it and witnessing in other people, you start to like really, really, really own it, you know? So when you show up as your true self in any community, you will actually recognize that your tribe will actually begin to show up for you. Okay. When you show up in particular events that you may be interested in, activities, you're going to see that people will resonate with you in certain ways. Even if when I go to particular events and I'm, kind of just chilling and being in my own space, enjoying the moment, the presence, the energy, and I simply just say hello to somebody and make small talk, it's coming from a genuine place, from a place of caring for that person and hoping that, one, I provide them with a sense of love and letting them know, like, hey, I see you, and trying to exude or express a sense of caring and love for them, even though I don't know them. Even though maybe if I had conversations and hung around them, maybe I wouldn't even like them. But the fact remains, as spiritual beings, as divine expressions of God, I still love them. And you can always get that point across by simply looking at somebody in their eyes and recognizing them. And then eventually you start running into people, a simple head nod, a simple hello, how are you, can lead to a lasting friendship and eventually a accumulation of individuals who actually make your tribe. Okay. So you don't try to fit in. You don't try to quote unquote dumb yourself down. You are respectful. You honor traditions and cultures, especially if you're coming into something different and new, but you still allow yourself to be authentic. Allow your energy, your vibration to be what it is that you desire it to be. And that will radiate out. And that radiation will actually become a magnet for those who are at the same frequency as you. The final thing is recognizing that you were chosen for your path. So it's interesting that when we want to listen to consciousness, we want to follow our passion, our purpose, we want to feel free, that we don't recognize that the things that actually come up in your mind frequently and often are your path actually calling you, right? Is calling you because you were chosen to create it, to live it. And so you have to understand that your presence is part of the greater spiritual awakening. And your presence means that you are listening to yourself. When you're not listening to yourself, when you're not following your intuition, when you're not following your gut, when you're not following your curiosity, your passions, talent, what have you, then you are preventing yourself from being a part of the spiritual awakening, the greater spiritual awakening of humanity, of your family, right? Of your children, of the universe. Like, you have to understand that it is bigger than you, that you are not simply put here to just exist and not do anything. You have a purpose. Your existence is not just simply the mere existence of a thing. Your existence is the practical expression of love and creation. So you have to understand what that means. And you have to understand that when you choose your path, you align with all the things that I previously mentioned, right? You align with recognizing that everything starts within you. You align with recognizing that, in order to find your community, you must be your most authentic self, you know? So you must understand that you're not here to bend to the world in the sense of what society and what people tell you should be doing. You are here to lead, right, from a place of love in how you are authentically being, in your authentic understanding and purpose and truth, you see? And so that's essentially how you get past this need of belonging and actually recognize that you belong, that you are here for a reason. And when you let go of making sure or thinking that reason has to fit in with somebody else's agenda or society's traditions, then you get lost and you tend to forget, right, that truth within you that is urging to come out. So what I want you to do is I want you to understand, when it comes to belonging, you already belong. Just remember who you are. Remember that you are here for a reason. Remember that you were chosen to be here. Remember that you are divine and you are an expression of God. So I want you to take that and move forward with a sense of confidence, grace, and understanding, patience, love toward yourself. Express that out toward the rest of the universe, and then everything else will fall into place. Thank you so much. Feel free to go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, and get access to this free ebook, The Power Within. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.